Hi guys, in this video today I will tell you my takeaways from Consensus 2018. What are my conclusions? What is the next big thing in crypto? Stay with me till the end of this video. There will be a contest and something to win. Several days ago I came back from New York from the Consensus 2018, and they were all the movers and shakers from the crypto industry. So you could learn a lot about the current development in the crypto world and about the future, about the trends, about what is going on and what is going to happen next. And let me give you my most important takeaways from this event. Let's start with the most trivial ones. One of the major roadblocks in crypto adoption is the user experience, is the complicated user interface, the complexity of the technology. So on the software front, there will be a lot of improvements in user experience, in a user interface, and that will drive the mainstream adoption. This will remove complexity and make it easy for everyday user, for the average Joe, to interact with this technology without having to know about its complexity, without having to understand this technology fully, and nevertheless being able to use that technology. Another trend that is going on is, as you know, regulation. Generally, there will be more regulation from the big players, from the big countries. It has its advantages and disadvantages. You will see the advantages later in this video. The disadvantage is, of course, less things are possible in crypto, less things are possible in speculation, and it will be more cumbersome, more difficult to speculate, but there will be possibly more opportunities, as you will see. On the other hand, there will be an array of countries, of small countries, who want to use this crypto opportunity to get investors into their country, to get the burgeoning, the growing crypto industry into their country. And one of these new kids on the block is Barbados. So keep an eye on these little countries, keep an eye on Barbados and see this development. If you want to found a company in this space, if you want to go into business in this space, keep track on these developments. The next trend is the interoperability, meaning the interaction between chains. There is a number of blockchains and solutions specializing on connecting other blockchains, on making blockchains talk with each other and work with each other. All of that will play more and more role in the future. In the long term, an average user will just use this technology without even knowing on which blockchain it is executing, which blockchain he is actually using. They will be completely interoperable. So this is the goal of the industry. The next trend is stablecoins. There has been a lot of rumor, a lot of gossip, a lot of bad and good news around Tether. As you know, Tether was probably the first stable coin in the history, but generally the stable coins will play in the short and middle term a major role. Why? Because there will be a stage in the transition to the full crypto world, right? Between the traditional money and the crypto money. There are these stable coins, and stable coin means generally they are pegged one-to-one with some fiat currency, right? Like, for example, dollar or euro, and they represent that dollar or that euro. Whatever you may think about Tether or other stable coins, if they really are covered by the equal amount of money on the bank accounts or in the hand, these cryptocurrencies, they remove the friction of the traditional banking system. If you are a merchant, if you are a normal company right now, you have the choice either, or you can do both, but you can have a bank account or you can have a cryptocurrency, right? A cryptocurrency wallet or several cryptocurrency wallets. And the problem is going between these two systems, because it is quite cumbersome and quite risky in the execution to change between these two systems right now. And for example, in order to buy a cryptocurrency, you need to transfer your money to a crypto exchange, and it takes days for that. It takes fees to process that. It's the same with credit card. You need other parties involved in that, and so on and so on. But you could hold that money instead on a bank account. You could hold it as a stable coin, in a stable coin that represents the same amount of money in a crypto wallet. And then you can trade with that immediately or exchange between that and any other currency almost instantly. And it is just much quicker, much more efficient, and it just makes much more sense for companies. So in the future, if companies want to accept cryptocurrencies, want to play in that field, want to maybe pay in cryptocurrencies, holding money in stable coins makes a lot of sense, or switching from bank accounts to stable coins. So it removes a lot of friction, a lot of inefficiency, a lot of risk from the whole infrastructure, from the whole system. That's why more and more companies will issue stablecoins. During consensus, for example, Circle announced that it will issue a stablecoin based on dollar, and in the midterm also on other currencies. The next trend is visible in Steemit. Steemit is a social network based on a cryptocurrency. And Ned Scott said they were the first who actually noticed that cryptocurrencies can be distributed just like points in dig. And in the future, we will see more and more connection between social networks and cryptocurrencies. And social networks will drive the cryptocurrency distribution and also will drive the cryptocurrency mainstream adoption. The next big player in that space is Kik with, correct me if I'm wrong, 50 million users, and they have issued their cryptocurrency Keen that is based on that social network or is connected to that social network and will drive the incentives on that social networks, as well as of course the adoption of cryptocurrencies. And other social networks are also playing with that idea to introduce cryptocurrencies involved or based on these social networks. So this will be happening more and more in the next month, in the short middle term. The next thing for people who invested a lot in ICOs, a lot of these high capitalized ICO projects will fail this or next year. So be prepared for that. Maybe rescue your investments as soon as possible. I was mentioning it a lot in my previous videos. There are a lot of projects that just promise a lot, and they have in the white papers not only things that are not implemented, that don't work, but even hard problems that haven't been solved yet mathematically or technologically, and they promise in the white papers to solve these problems. They have raised a lot of money, and some of them, many of them, most of them won't manage to provide on their promises. They will burn all their money. So be prepared for that. And last but not least, and probably the most important takeaway, and I hope you have been waiting till that moment, because this is probably the most important for investors, is the thing about security tokens. What are security tokens? Maybe you know this distinction between utility tokens and security tokens. Utility tokens are tokens necessary to use an application, or maybe they give you an advantage in using that application, a discount or something. These are tokens that have a functionality in some application. And security tokens are tokens that are an investment vehicle. They generally give you a promise of giving back to you some profit, maybe some dividend, maybe this is some equity in some company, and so on and so on. And the problem until now was that these security tokens weren't regulated, or it was a very risky undertaking to issue security tokens due to all these AML, KYC requirements, and also due to unstable and unsure regularity environment, regularity situation. So people were either making sure that their token is really a utility token, meaning not giving away any profits, any dividends, or they were using a lot of judiciary tricks in order to make it possible to issue a token with security elements. And all these tokens proved to be extremely risky, not only due to the financial risk, of course, that goes together with any security that you use, but foremost due to the legal risk because of this insecure regularity framework, right? But today, a lot of trends are coming together. The regularity situation is being clarified, and it is more and more clear what you need in order to issue a security, what processes you need in place in order to issue security in different countries. In some countries it is still unsatisfactory, in other countries it is more satisfactory, and there are also initiatives to establish global standards for these issues, for these so-called security tokens. And there are also platforms coming that will allow a legally safe issuance of security tokens. And the thing is, most of the tokens people wanted or want to issue are actually security tokens. Security market is a huge market. The traditional stock exchange market, the traditional security market is $37 trillion market. And the utility token market is much smaller. So right now we have under 1% of all tokens are actually security tokens. But in a frame of 10 years, most of experts, of the financial experts, say the security tokens will amount for 50 to 95% of the total crypto market. And keep in mind, the crypto market is growing. So from under, let's say, 2 billion in security tokens right now, we will go up to probably around 10 trillion in security tokens in 2029 and 2028, so in 10 years, from 2 billion to 10 trillion. So it is 5,000 times growth in that market. So watch out for the developments, for the platforms offering for security tokens. As soon as security tokens will become available, huge ICOs, there will be huge opportunities. And Keen was probably one of the ICOs that started that process, and there will be more and more coming. So keep in mind, the traditional stock market is $70 trillion, and all of these stocks, they will come on blockchain. And also there will be a lot more security tokens available due to increased efficiency of that systems, due to removed friction from the system. So a lot more companies will decide to issue security tokens that decided to issue stocks. It will be much easier to handle, it will be much easier to process, and it will be much easier to deal with. So internet turned the world into publishers, and blockchain will turn the world into investors. Thanks to blockchain, internet will become a worldwide stock market. I can see you like this video, give me a thumb up, subscribe below, and don't forget to hit the bell button. I talk here a lot about cryptocurrencies, about money, about my experiences with investing in cryptocurrencies. I have been investing in this space since 2015. I am a mathematician and studied cryptology, so I know what I'm talking about. I talk also a lot about psychology of entrepreneurship, about how the most successful entrepreneurs in the world think. I have interviewed 28 self-made billionaires and extracted the thinking principles. And I talk also about how to do the impossible, about my experiences with running ultramarathons, about doing the impossible. I invite you to comment what you think about this topic, what is your experience, what is your perspective. Share this video with your friends, with your loved ones. They will thank you for that. I promised you a competition in the beginning. Let's do the following. Share this video on your social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, with a quote from this video or with your comment, and add to that share two things. First, add TheBillion DollarSecret, hash TheBillion DollarSecret, hash TheBillion DollarSecret, so we can find your shares. And the second thing is add your Byteball address. Among the most creative, the most effective shares, I will choose several and will give away some Byteball bytes for them. That's it for today. Thank you from Black Forest. I wish you a fantastic day. Let's do something extraordinary today.